giant gray clouds that I was driving into.
Yeah.
But then the sun was right behind me. So there was a point where I could see I felt like I could see the beginning of the rainbow.
Oh, that's so
cool. And it was right in front of me.
That is so cool.
Like, just right out the free. Like, I felt like I could literally see the entire thing. And the end of it was right there right in front of me. It was pretty cool.
That is cool.
But, so you're in the studio with Alex, London Mark, Miss J, of course. Hello, everybody there. We also have the finance guru in studio with us.
I just love the way.
Marthella McWilson. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I know I mentioned earlier on the last segment that I used to work at a credit union.
Yes.
I used to work at Financial Center Credit Union, which is one of the local credit unions here in San Joaquin County. And I loved it for about 4 months. For about 4 months, I loved it. And
I thought you were going to say 4 years.
No. I was there for less than a year. I think I was there for 11 months.
Oh, wow.
Total.
Okay.
And I loved it for 4 months because for 4 months, I was just a teller.
Oh, okay.
And Financial Center Credit Union, they're trying to move over to this new system where they have the tellers do everything.
Oh.
So instead of having bankers and tellers, they're trying to consolidate all of the information into
right at the counter. I was shocked about that when they.
Yes, it's awful.
Yeah.
And so now, combined with that and working at what is the busiest branch that they own, so then you have people coming in the doors, and they're waiting forever. Sometimes for half an hour, 45 minutes at a time, depending on the day. If it's payday, if it's Social Security check day, depending on what day it is. So you have people upset. They get to the counter and they're upset. Everyone that's working there is upset. It's just like a negative environment. And so I got trained to do loans, and I was very bad at it. I think this goes back to what I said before: is if you're good at Monopoly, then you're probably going to be good at life. And I mean that financially.
Right. Okay.
And so if you know how to play Monopoly and you're able to win all the time, then you know.
Even without being the banker.
Then you know.
I thought that was a jab to your sister, but it's okay.
Then you know how to handle it. You know how to work money. And that's something that I've never really been good at. What? Just, oh.
No, I didn't know that you never were good at Monopoly.
I'm okay at Monopoly, but I'm not the best. Like I'm not guaranteed to win.
Oh, okay.
Like she sounds like if we all played right now,
I'll get you.
We might as well just go home.
But it's been so long since I played Monopoly. I don't know. Like
think you might have beginner's luck.
Yeah, I might get you. I think we need to have the Rise and Shine 209 Monopoly challenge.
Play the Monopoly challenge.
You better come on Monday.
Yeah, we need to do that.
We'll see you on Monday playing Monopoly.
Okay.
We'll come in here and play Monopoly and see who wins.
Does anybody have one?
There's also
we can get one.
Something like that Robert has. I think it's called the Rat Race.
I don't want anything. I don't want anything new because it sounds like you already have experience.
I only played it one time.
See, I haven't played it. No.
We're playing regular Monopoly,
right?
And you're gonna get the shoe, okay?
And you get the boot. What's your favorite piece?
For me?
Yeah, London.
Probably the dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
I'm not picky about
you
it,
like
though.
the dog too?
Yeah, the dog.
Okay, now you guys are gonna fight over the dog.
Oh, you can have it.
No,
I'm the hat.
The hat. I like the hat too.
Is there a train?
No.
I wear a lot of hats in my life.
And the thimble. I like the thimble.
The thimble.
But they're getting rid of it, I believe.
Really?
In Monopoly?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they?
Why would they get rid of?
They like the last few years they've been trying to change or add different things. But I saw something the other day.
They should add, not take away.
Getting rid.
Right.
I agree. That's classic.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh! So I think I need to go buy the board game.
Go do it.
I know this is a board game sidebar.
No, I have two at home.
Oh well, Isaiah
I
needs
have one that's not.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll bring him one.
No, I'm serious.
I don't want to use your copy.
Yeah, no, but this is
I have some that hasn't been opened.
No, this seriously. Like I
wanted to
really
play.
just had this conversation about board games and kids and their games because he's new age, and I like personally as a parent, I have this personal agenda to make sure my son is attached to like old school, quote unquote, vintage. You know, I'm an 80s baby, so I laugh when I say vintage things. But we have my grandma's VCR, so he knows how to use a VCR. I have a record player, so he knows how to. The only thing I have yet to get is a tape deck. And I want to teach him these things so he can stay connected to the way it used to be. And so
when he wasn't born yet.
Yeah, before he was born. And so board games, we don't have any in the house. So I've already, like, I have a few card games, but like Go Fish.
I'm going to bring him a Monopoly game.
Yeah, so I already said in my mind I wanted to get him some board games. Because he plays a few at school, but like Sorry and Shoots and Ladders, what is it, Candyland and Mousetrap. And I wanted to get all those. So Monopoly is on the list. And
Yes.
that's
You have Connect 4?
Well, I got Monopoly.
No, Connect 4. And you know what?
4.
He's played it. We don't have any
Connect
board
4
games.
you can play Connect 4
But he
anytime.
liked Connect 4 because of when Steph Curry played with President Barack Obama. And that whole little video, my son loves basketball, and so he wanted a Connect 4 game as well.
Oh, we have to get him a Connect 4.
yeah.
I got the Monopoly.
Okay.
He got that.
Yes.
So we got to play Monopoly.
She has the Monopoly.
Monopoly. So we got to play Monopoly.
Yes.
And we're talking about finances.
Yes.
And I interrupted for a sidebar because London was talking about his experience at Financial Center.
What a jerk.
But I love you.
So you were there 4 months. Why only 4 months?
No, I was there for 11 months.
Oh, 11 months.
I was let go because I was bad at doing loans.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Like, you know.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Put them together.
Well, because you have to.
It's a lot of paperwork.
There's a lot of paperwork. Like, I wish I had worked at a different branch.
Okay.
Because I still bank with them. I still bank with them.
me too.
And I go to the one on Pershing.
Okay.
And I had never been inside another branch besides the Lodi branch where I trained after I started working at Ben Holt, which is the branch that I worked at. And the whole just like aura of the entire building is just completely different. Everyone's much friendlier. Everyone's nicer. Everyone's happier. I talk to the tellers and the MSRs there, and they go, "Oh yeah, they like each other." No one at Ben Holt likes each other. It's always tense, and so there's just so much paperwork. There's teller paperwork that you have to do. The people who have fraud on their accounts, and so you have to keep everything organized. And I'm like kind of in the middle of like I really try to be organized, but me in my natural state, I'm not very organized, you know? And so then I end up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the middle is not good enough to cut it if you're going to be a banker / loan officer.
Yeah. Organization skills is a must.
Yes. And
so Alex might be good at... Yeah. Alex is OCD. We'll put it out there.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
So I was getting loans.
What do you want to say about that? Is there truth behind what she said?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's why
I can't deny it. I'd say borderline OCD.
Borderline.
No, there is OCD. There's no borderline. You have OCD. It's just not as severe.
The first thing you have to do
is admit you have a problem.
I'm in the denial phase, so it's going to take me maybe by the end of the show.
Okay,
but no, I'm saying that actually might work.
How long have you been in denial?
How old am I?
But I'm saying that might be beneficial. You know, we're talking about organizational skills and keeping things in line with working in finances.
Don't do it, Alex.
I don't know. I was just saying. I'm just adding a little something. Not really to call you out, but to call you out to say that might help in that area.
But because I had that experience, I got to look at a lot of credit reports of different people. I got to. I did have some loans that were finalized and went through, and
good.
And so,
how did that make you feel?
Oh, okay.
I feel like I did.
There's this guy that he was trying to. He banked with FCCU, but he lived in Louisiana. He was trying to buy a car in Louisiana and finance it at FCCU, and it was complicated. And so that was good. When it finally got all sorted out, they were happy, and it was
good.
Yay, cool. I'm glad that you're happy.
Yeah.
I really like helping people and making sure that they're taken care of. And so, but I've seen a lot of credit reports, and so I know. And so I know what it can be like, and I know what it's like when people get denied, and you need to fix this. And so that's really why I was asking before in the last segment. And I know you mentioned you said that if you have old credit that's not being paid, stuff that you haven't touched, don't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it until you get advised to, because you do wake that dead up. I mean, it's like resuscitation of the dead. Mm-hmm. And so, not to say that you won't have to deal with it, but I actually, like I said, I do credit repair. I have a program that I've been using since 2006. I used to do it on my own, but it's time consuming. And so I've been working with this company since 2006, and they go in and they clean out the old, and I help you build new. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times you're not needing to pay those things off. Mm-hmm. And then too, let's wait and see what the underwriter says, because sometimes the underwriter will not call for you to pay those things off, and so that's money that you could have invested into your house.
So you're talking about this from a perspective of getting, from a collection perspective, or the perspective of going out and trying to get a loan.
Exactly.
Okay. So what if you're not trying to get a loan? What if you just want?
Well, either way, you still want those things taken care of.
Yeah, of course you still want those things taken care of, and so let's say if I come to you and I'm not trying to get a loan and I want to get my debt repaired,
yes,
right? I just want to make sure that if not now, but for the future,
whenever you're ready to do
whenever
anything.
I'm ready to do anything,
even a job, they look at your credit.
You know, if you want to join the military,
insurance,
if you want to get a certain job, you're right. You have to have good credit. And so if I want to make sure that things for the future are better for me, talk to a counselor is your advice.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you're saying that in some instances you may not have to pay those things off.
Correct.
So let's say if I have one particular account, I pay it, does that make my credit go down?
Sometimes it does, because it restarts that timeline. And so it looks more newer than it should. Mm-hmm. When you should have just left it alone. Because now there's activity. It's activity. And they go off the date of the last activity as far as your timeline to go away with it.
So can you give us...
That's where they get you.
Can you
exactly.
They get you, gotcha.
Some of these collection companies, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Because people say, I had that 9 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm like, let's check it out. So I'll look on the credit line, and it'll have 1 or 2 digits off from the original account number. Mm-hmm. And just by switching 1 or 2 numbers, they actually come as a whole new collection. So sometimes you have the same thing reported 2 or 3 different ways on your credit. It's the same thing, not that you got duplicate. And,
I had that experience.
Yeah. A lot of people have that experience, and it's unfortunate, but that's how they get you.
So can you explain the process?
Wow. Now I know how it happened.
Of that kind of credit repair?
Yeah, so the company will go in and they basically dispute all the things that are negative reporting. Mm-hmm. See, because a lot of people don't understand, even if it was yours, there's a certain way that they were supposed to go about putting it on your credit in the first place. Mm-hmm. And they dropped the ball. So, the credit bureaus got real free and let people just drop anything on your credit report without proof. Mm-hmm. And so it's not your burden of proof to show that you owe these people the money, it's theirs.
Okay.
They have to show contracts. They have to show that you signed on the dotted line for that credit, that credit card and things like that. And so, because they didn't do it the right way from the beginning,
how do you know that they didn't?
Well, if it's on your credit, doesn't matter that they have to show that they supposed to have the right to put it there.
And so then you need to go and find that they can prove that.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So by disputing it, they have 30 days to let the bureaus know that yes, this is her credit line. She did sign for that, and we're keeping it the way it is. Or, my bad, I don't have the paperwork, and it comes off.
Is that what happens most of the time?
It happens most of the time.
That's what happened with me starting last year. The first thing she said, go in and dispute everything on your credit. And I went to, what did you tell? Credit Karma, or one of those online.
Creditreport.com?
Yeah, I think it was another one. Credit Karma. Yeah, she referred me to that. And it's
disclosure, Credit Karma is great for giving you what's on your credit.
That's it.
But not good for the score. So
that's it. Yeah.
At Credit Karma and think that's your score.
Yeah, no, she just told me, let me make it clear. She just told me to go see, because I was like most people, I didn't know what was on my credit because I was afraid. You say credit and I'm literally like, nope.
No, I'm going home.
Conversation over.
And so I went to go see what was actually on there and just bite the bullet. And it honestly did not look as bad as I thought it was. Most of the stuff that was on there is what I knew would probably be on there. But there were some things I thought, this is going to be horrible. And it wasn't on my credit. And so she did tell me, go and dispute everything. And I'm like, but I do owe this. And she's like, go dispute everything. And I'm that person that asks 18 million questions before I take an answer. And because, she's known me before I was born, she was already prepared, very patient. And I went and literally within 30 days, I want to say it was almost less than that, but within 30 days, there were, and I posted on Facebook, if you remember,
Yeah, I remember.
there were 3 things that were taken off of my credit, which raised my score like literally almost like 50 to 60 points.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, now, first of all, I wasn't the score part. Like she said, she was like, don't look at the score, but just have an understanding of kind of where I wasn't as bad off. As I thought in the beginning. And then to have it raise, like at first it was like another 20 points and another 10. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, we're going. And then next thing you know, Financial Center is like, it's been 6 months. You can ask for a higher limit.
And that's key because, like I said in the beginning, your score is dictated by how much you've been given and how you do by it. Meaning, the closer away you are, the better your score. So if they give you an increase, you automatically get a jump in your score because now you're further away from what you owe.
Right. And that's what happened.
Every 6 months, I ask for increases on my credit card.
Regardless if you want to spend it. Just
and that's what I did. I started
Regardless.
out, Financial Center gave me $500. Now, mind you, I'm in my 30s, and this is my first official credit card. Ooh. Because because the first one I got, I was 17 years old in college and I got $1,500, But my first credit card as an adult, because I was always taught, don't get a credit card. So I got $500 credit limit. I went disputed things in 6 months, went back to Financial Center, and all I did, it literally was a phone call.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go in to do anything because they already had my information because I had been banking there. I called them, said I want to try to increase my credit limit, and they said, well, do you have your most recent check stubs? And I said, yeah, I do I need to bring it in? She goes, well, actually, we already have, if your income has not changed, we have everything we need. So let's do it over the phone. It did take a few hours, so she said, I'll call you back by the end of the day. And they called me back. This was like maybe 11 o'clock I called them in the day. She called me back. It was about 5 o'clock. Like 4 o'clock in the evening. I'm about to get off work. I get a call from the bank, and she goes, hey, now you have $1,200. And I was like, what?
Hey.
And so literally the way...
Chill out.
No, I know. I was chilling out. But I was just like...
You ain't got $1,200.
You ain't got $1,200. But no. Instantly, I was getting excited because literally the next day, I get an email alert from Credit Karma. Hey, there's been a change to your credit report. And then it shows like this little green arrow that my score went up. And I was like, ooh, I like that. And so it really doesn't take it. And I said all that and shared that story to say that not only to, attest to what she's saying that is true, because I guess I am going through the program kind of like unofficially, but it really doesn't take as long as I thought it would take.
Right.
And even though now I'm still having, financial issues and those type of things, I have a better understanding of what I need to do to get, quote unquote, back on track. But I'm still going towards home ownership. So that's really, really good. I'm sorry. Another
I think most people, when they hear credit repair, they think, oh, what do I have to pay back?
Yeah.
And then, then they start thinking, oh, well, I have all this history of nonsense.
Right.
And it's not even what you have to pay back. It's just going through the process.
Right.
And understanding the process. And get out of being afraid. I think that's the first part, because you get bogged down by that fear. You don't want to talk to anybody about
exactly.
it.
And a lot of people get paralyzed with fear, and it makes you not do nothing.
Right.
And so because they think it's going to go a certain way, you're going to hear a no. People tend to not do anything. And so you have to step out of the box. Like I said, run the credit is the number one thing that you got to do. And once you do that and get I give you a roadmap of home ownership. So you come, we look at your credit, we say, okay, do this, and this. Some people don't have to get in the credit repair. If it's just one or two things, I could just tell you to do that. Some people need to get in. And so I had an experience where I was in Vegas, and I had someone that got in the program probably had to be about 35, 40 days prior. And so he calls me up and he says, hey, I think I'm ready. You think I'm crazy, but I'm ready. I said, I don't think you're crazy at all. It happens all the time. So we ran the credit. His score had jumped. He was now over, he was in the 5s, and now he was 630, something like that, And so ran his credit, got him pre-qualified while I was in Vegas, and I work with a lot of investors, and so I told him to go check out this house. I said, where you want to live? And he says, the North. And I was like, okay. And so I said, you like the country club area? He says, sure. So I give him a directions address to a property on Mendocino. He goes, checks it out. He's like, I love it. I want it. I said, you haven't even seen the inside yet.
You're in Stockton, you mean, right?
In Stockton, yeah. And I'm in Vegas, right? Okay. So he says, I want it. I said, well, hold on. And so I call the investor up. I tell him, hey, I have somebody that wants to see it. We hadn't even put it on the market yet. I said, I have someone that wants to see the property. He looked around, around it and wants to see the inside. So he goes, shows it while I'm in Vegas. He calls back. I told you I wanted it. This was my total, I think it was maybe 45 days in the program. And so wrote him up. By the time I got back 2 weeks later, we were closing it. And so it can really happen, in a couple months and a lot of times for a lot of people.
And I'm glad you said the number 630 because, everybody's reaching that 700 thing or over. But even with 630, it's not hard to get there. 620, it's not hard to get there because most people.
I've done them for less than 620, 580 to 600.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
But it's they look at the overall. FHA is they look at the overall situation. So you could have no lates in the last 12 months and have a 600 FICO and still get a loan. Takes a little longer with those programs because there's only a few lenders that do that. So I tell people, let's get to 620 because that opens up more doors for you. And if we get to 640, even more, 660, we got programs that let you put real low down payments.
I think another thing that also, like you said, they look at the entire situation as a whole, right?
Exactly.
So if you have, this is just a hypothetical situation, let me know where I fall on this, right? So if you have a lot of lates, right? And maybe you have a bunch of accounts that are being paid, but they're all late. But you make $1 billion a month, right?
Right.
Well, you can pay. Right. So you might get that loan, which is just a hypothetical situation.
Sometimes it just takes putting more money down.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
Exactly.
No, it's do you have a recourse? Do you have recourse? Can we trust you to pay? And if for some reason you can't pay, can we come get your money? Yeah.
I guess it's a balance. If you have more income or more money at your disposal, then your scores and everything can be a little
lower.
Less.
You just have to put more down.
But now, if you have a better score, then you don't have it. You need as much money.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a balance.
You guys are good. You guys want to come teach a class?
We're gonna teach one together.
Don't have my credit.
But while we're talking about teaching and we're on Facebook Live, there are plenty of people out there that are making comments. They have questions, so I want to give them an opportunity to have their questions answered. Shouts out to Travis Harris out there in Texas.
Hey, Texas.
He made a comment saying it never hurts to check your credit frequently. How true is that? How is there a limit on how often you should check your credit? Because people don't know that as well. Does that affect your score if you check, like just going to check the number or running the credit?
I remember somewhere being taught that the more you check your credit or something like that, the more it affects it.
So is that true, Marthella?
So yes and no. So the thing is this: you want to check your credit at least once a year, right?
Okay.
If you're not doing anything, because you want to know what people are saying about you.
Right.
Right. On top of that, if you're really about to do something, of course, that's a good time to start, right? So that's the first thing we do is run your credit. Mortgage hits are not as hard as, say, you're going to buy a car, because they might run your credit like 3 times to get you a lender, right? So you definitely want to be cautious with your credit. Don't just run it just to be running it to see what it's like, except maybe once a year. Okay. But like I said, mortgage hits are not as hard hits as credit cards or car loans and things like that. Okay. So, just be cautious about it. Just don't do it all the time.
Okay.
Even when you're trying to do something, go to someone you trust, let them run it, and just stick with them through the process. If you can tell they know what they're doing. Some people think they know and they don't, but ask around.
Thank you, Travis from Houston, Texas. Tahira, she's one of our top listeners in Virginia.
Hi, Tahira.
Talks about credit cards. Now, we did have a conversation about that and adding credit cards. Now, if you want to add lines of credit,
frequently.
Oh no, she said Credit Karma is fake. We did mention Credit Karma being a great way to see what's on your credit, but not the actual score.
Don't look at the score.
Where should you go to see your score?
Me. You want to run it because we do a 3 bureau pull, so it shows you the scores from all three credit bureaus. A mortgage company would be great for that.
But when we talk about lines of credit, are credit cards the only way to go? Are there other accounts or other things you can do to help your credit?
Yes. And yes. So a loan, like he worked at Financial Center Credit Union. So how they give you car loans and individual personal loans, those
anything
count.
that's reported.
Anything that shows on your credit
that's reported.
is good. And a lot of people don't know. Some people don't have any credit. They're young. We can also use and put your rental history,
PG&E,
and things like that as alternative credit on and put it on your credit.
Now, what about those jewelry stores? Everybody always says that those work too.
Those work too.
Okay, because I
It
used
reports to the bureaus.
Oh, okay. Because I used to say that all the time. I'm like, I mean, I love jewelry, but we're talking about Black History Month and what's typical in the African American community, and not to buy into the stereotypes, but just the mentality of what's popular within our culture. Is that a lot of times we go and get jewelry, we go and what about even those furniture places?
I would say if you're making payments on it,
okay,
then that is,
and they use your Social Security to give you the credit.
That's the indicator. If you're gonna go buy a mattress and you're paying X amount over 24, 36 months, that's going to be on your credit.
Okay.
Right? Even from the beginning, right?
Yeah, from the beginning.
So did you make this payment on time? This payment on time? Is it ones all across the board? Is it
the most weight is going to be in the past year.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want if you want to buy next year, starting today, just make sure every single thing is paid on time. Minimum payments. You don't have to go overboard. Like we were talking about earlier about getting it at 30%. If you can't do that, that's fine, but just make sure every single payment is paid on time.
And that's what I was going to ask. What about, so it's better to make payments instead of paying things off in full. Is that?
Initially, until you start building, yes. You want.
That's just another way to build.
Yeah, they want
to
see that you have the ability to be disciplined to make your payments.
So,
because you're gonna have a mortgage payment for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So we talk about disputing the charges, disputing the accounts. So you dispute the accounts,
yes,
and then however many accounts may get taken off, removed, dropped from your credit report.
Exactly.
Then you still have some left over. What do you do with those? If there's some that are left over.
Yeah, so that's when negotiation starts in. So say you went through, because we have 5 cycles in the program that I use for the year. And so say on the 3rd cycle, you're like, I can't wait anymore. I want to buy a house. And say you needed another 10, 15 points, and we've already paid your things, your existing credit lines down as far as we could. Then you can go into negotiating with those and getting those to settle with you.
Gotcha. And making settled payments.
Yes, and as long as they give a letter, a lot of times they'll give a letter and they'll actually take it off if you pay them. So you just want to, whatever the agreement is, you want it in writing.
Gotcha.
Before you make that payment.
Now there's another
in writing. How so? Sorry.
So from the collection company saying, okay, we agreed to pay that you pay this amount, and we'll take this off your credit, or by paying this is how this is settled in full, and and the dollar amount and what that is.
Gotcha.
So it'll reconcile with what you pay.
Gotcha.
Before you pay.
Good. Alex, you had a question or a statement?
Yeah. I was just going to bring something that I asked her off air that we haven't really discussed, and I know our generation really is affected by it, and it's student loans. How do those really affect the credit and how they're looked upon, and going forward?
Okay. So, student loans, good question. So, a lot of people think, oh gosh, I got so many student loans, I'm not going to be able to buy because of student loans. And another thing, why we're on that usually people have a thing with child support. So, let's start with the student loans. So, with the student loans, you can have student loans. The only thing you want to do is when we get close, like say we find a house and all that, then I would tell you to go in, ask for a deferment for 12 months. So if it's deferred for 12 months, then we can still use it, put it on, because it's on your credit anyway. So the underwriter will see that. It'll show that you are in a deferment status for 12 months or 13 months, and then we're able to continue on with that process. Now, child support, same thing. Just make your payments to your child support for the 12 months, and then that suffices as well.
Right. And and I'm glad you brought that up, because even with my personal experience and learning about child support and that type of thing, my case, I don't mind putting it out there, but it's an interstate case. So my case started in Georgia, but I live here in California. Now, not that I'm paying the child support to be paid with me, but Georgia set it up in a way that if the absent parent pays at least $50 by the 30th day of the month, there is no penalty. Now, of course, your arrears will build up on how much you owe, but as long as you're showing that you're paying something to child support, it actually will benefit you.
Exactly.
So I'm giving that shout out to even no matter how you're struggling, if you're ordered to pay a certain amount, but you just can't do it because of your personal finances, whatever you got going on, if you're paying something towards it, it will help your credit. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, shout out to all the fellas out there that are paying child support.
And women.
And the women. And the ones that are going to start now.
Yes, they're going to start today. I mean, because working as a welfare worker, aka eligibility worker, not that I work, directly with finances, but that's where I got my first look on exactly how finances affect the entire household.
Exactly.
And I didn't know how, even considering budgets for the home, that's what we have to take care of and look into for eligibility, how much you qualify, medical bills, medical premiums, looking at everything that you basically have to pay out. Then child support comes in to play on, how much you have to pay versus how much you're paying. So it just got my mind in a sense of saying, oh, well, you never really thought about that. I never thought about that time I went to the emergency room 10 years ago and never paid them.
You'd be surprised how that's on a lot of people's credit reports.
Right.
Yeah, you show up and they'll be like, oh, you owe medical bills. And
surgeries.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Huh? What
some medical bills, the underwriter won't even call to be paid. So that's why I said it's just good to come in and see where you're at, because it's probably not as bad as you think. And, there's always a way. Like I tell people,
all right, guys, we're going to do it, okay?
Yeah, you got to. All three of you guys, you'll be in my.
Oh, I'm already on the road.
Get your testimony.
I know. I can't wait till I get a family member to gift me
your down payment.
She's still on that.
My down payment. I thought that was amazing because I didn't know. I learned something today. I didn't know that was true. If I would have known, I could just call up a family member to say, "Help me with the down payment."
We'll make you a GoFundMe account.
So when is dinner?
Right.
I said, so when is dinner?
When's dinner?
Yeah.
You're cooking?
Now, we have some chefs in here.
I will cook.
Well, we have some chefs in here, so now they're trying to be family. First of all, I was the first cousin. I'm the cousin first. Y'all were secondary.
I'm close.
Hey, I'll be the fifth cousin if you let me come over. Okay.
I'm getting dinner, y'all.
I'll come over to your house, make you dinner. And I'll talk your ear off.
We're gonna get you guys some homes.
That's what we want to do.
We're gonna give some keys
Marthella's Keys program.
I'm Miss Keys.
Miss Keys. We're gonna get the keys, and I love watching that online. So can we go to break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about getting the keys and answering some more questions. So those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, if you have questions, make sure you go ahead and post it in the comments. Make sure you're liking our page on Facebook, KXVS, the voice of Stockton, where you can see the full scope of the studio. Also on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. When we come back,
we got a question.
Yeah, we got a question. So Antoine Hill, who's watching on Facebook Live, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll answer more questions. So get pen and paper, send your question in. We got myself, Miss J, London, Alex, and the financial gurus, Miss Keys, Marthella McWilson in the building. Black History Month lineup is off the chain.
Hey.
Yes, we'll be right back after this.